Well, this is the 7th game of the World Series of the NBA playoffs or the National Hockey League Stanley Cup. Your name goes into history as a Grand Slam champion. You have to win 1 set. Graf will open it.
Premier service.
The right shot, the right move. She hit with such depth that point.
But part of her good play today has been the defensive lobs that she's thrown up.
Right, but look at the depth here, right close to the line, and on this shot also.
But Aranches has stayed in so many points where most players would be out of the point with stretch defensive lobs high enough to get her back into the point. It's part of her total talent.
And you can get away with it on clay, but you can't on a faster surface. That would never work on grass. That's why she hasn't had the success on a grass court. Both players not playing well at the same time. It's a seesaw match, showing glimpses of brilliance, but a lot of errors.
She had the open court, the hustling F A Sanchez-Vicario, but it's Graf holding to open the final set. Surface the court. That's Patrick Ballet. He is a lucky charm for Steffi Graf. He's from the south of France. He's been coming up here for the last 6 years on his holiday, and she has rewarded him with rackets and autographed gear. They become a tennis friendship of sorts, and he had a big article written about him here in Paris this week.
Steffi really is, she's a great person, and she's very charming and yet very guarded, so very few people, especially the American public, very few people really know the real her. But you know, when you met her, you said, oh, I've been watching her, admiring her for so long that finally I met her. It makes my career.
That's right. About 30. Well, part of it is, you know, with all the power and her stern on-court appearance, you get the impression, a different impression of what I found when I met her personally. She is very shy, and she has a lot of class to her and vulnerability. She's very vulnerable, and I think for all of us, we'd like to see that side of a personality. John McEnroe hit with Steffi Graf during the course of this French championship. He said, she was so tough on me, I thought I'd better start practicing more. I said, boy, she can hit the ball.
Well, she's made herself very accessible, especially to us, when she actually talked to us yesterday. And I think that's an example that women's tennis is really trying to make an effort to sell the sport, and the top players are much more giving in their time.
Ooh, double fault for Arantxa, and 2 break points go with it.
Well, that first game in the third set was a big one, and Arantxa had 2 openings and made unforced errors, and boy, you can't do that against Steffi Graf, especially the first game. That sort of sets the mood for the whole match.
And again, Graf with a deeper shot execution, getting balls at midcourt. Graf, while Arantxa pinned the back of the baseline. 2-love lead for Graf in the final set. So the early break to Graf, just as she took the early lead in the last set, but couldn't hold it as Arantxa rallied and won 6-4.
And she's thinking about that right now. She remembers, second set I had 2-love, I let it slip. I'm not going to let this happen again.
Graf broken at 2-love and then at 2-all, and Arantxa went on to take the set. Bud?
First big match for Arantxa on clay 10 years ago. 13-year-old playing for the Spanish closed title against a much older woman. She said, I never leave the baseline. The first set didn't finish, and it took an hour and a half. So she said they came out, the tournament chairman, and said, we're going to have to move you to another court because we want the men's final. Her brother Emilio was playing for the men's title. Emilio was embarrassed because they're throwing her sister off. She said, I went to another court. I finally won the Spanish women's title at the age of 13. And Emilio played terribly until he found out that I had won, and then he won too. So she was tossed off the court in her first clay court final of importance.
No danger of that here. She's the defending champion, but now
big trouble.
Steffi Graf a couple of points to lead 3-love. Steffi Graf in this final set for the French Championship, leading 3-love. She's down just one break. 3-love final set. She knows how to rally. Case in point, U.S. Open Championship last year. Graf led 6-1, 5-4. But Arantxa took the second set tiebreaker and then 6-4 in the third to win her first United States Open Championship. Her third Grand Slam title, and as always shared with her close family. The family that cheers from the far end of the court as she serves love-free.
S'il vous plaît, merci. Merci bien.
I think the chair umpire, Varel, thought it was good.
15 up.
He's saying it's your fault you didn't play it, and Graf's point was the call was early, so she didn't play it because she heard fault.
S'il vous plaît, un petit peu de silence. Un petit peu de silence, s'il vous plaît.
$15 all.
S'il vous plaît.
Long.
30-15.
This is a must game for Arantxa. She's out of the match. If she's down 4-love, it's an uphill battle for her.
The hill is up even at love 3. 30 all. Papa, boyfriend in the Graf camp. Graf dictating the action and has a break point.
Making very few errors. Arantxa just on the defensive, just getting the ball back. She has to really start dictating the points a little bit more. She has to make it happen.
Premier service.
And Graf converts again and leads 4-love.
Mademoiselle Graf mène 4-0.
Just that first game in the third set, she let it slip. Arantxa won the second set. She had the momentum.
S'il vous plaît, merci.
And then she made two
Merci bien.
terrible shots, uncharacteristic of her, and really let that first game slip away.
Well, she's down 2 breaks now, but you know she'll battle through the final point.
Well, people have bugged her so much about her topspin backhand. She certainly hit a lot this match.
15-0.
Not far enough in the court. Got caught there right at her feet.
Well, to this point, the best set that Graf has played, perhaps in this championship, as she's worked her way slowly through these 2 weeks after only 1 week's practice.
Well, she had tougher matches, and she was tested more, and Arantxa just sort of floated through. Didn't really play any big names or big hitters. Steffi's in a class by herself when it comes to big hitters.
S'il vous plaît, merci. Premier.
Strongest ground strokes you ever played against? Most power?
I never played against Mary Pierce, but I think Steffi definitely had the biggest forehand I've ever seen.
Premier service.
That includes Margaret Court at her best,
And
Martina,
Monica. And I got Monica at the beginning of her career.
Light sprinkle falling. white glove. Now just 5 points from another French championship.
S'il vous plaît, s'il vous plaît. Merci.
Boy, dominating this final set.
Flawless. No errors, a lot of winners. Just concentrating well.
Graf holds, and the mountain for Sanchez-Vicario is like where she lives in Andorra. The Pyrenees for her. 1 game to go for Graf's 4th title here in Paris. Moving up on the list of all-time Grand Slam winners. She's 4th all-time at age 25 behind Margaret Court and Martina and Chris, and she's 1 game from another, which would be her 4th French title. The first came against Navratilova. That was 1987. And one that lasted, well, the coffee was still warm. 32 minutes. Natasha Zvereva gone. And then Mary Jo Fernandez took the opening set, but fell to Steffi Graf's all-game power. And now with it sprinkling, very dark skies, Arantxa Sanchez-Vicario, of course, from her point of view, down 5-love, a rain delay wouldn't bother her a bit. On the other hand, you know this woman wants to get business complete right now. Fans making noise because those without umbrellas are telling the people in front of them to close theirs so they can see.
And Arantxa taking her time, hoping that they're going to call this match. She'd like to be in the locker room right now.
And it begins raining more heavily, so it will be delayed for the 2nd time at love 5 in the final set. And remember, this is a championship where one player, a top-rated player, was ahead 5-love, 40-love, and lost. Jana Novotná to Chanda Rubin. So with Sanchez-Vicario's reputation of being a comeback player, who knows? And when the rain stops, we'll find out. A stop. Final touches being made before they remove that tarp, and they'll call out the players with Arantxa Sanchez-Vicario in a deep hole, love 5. Love 5. Arantxa Sanchez-Vicarios trying to stay alive in the final set for the French championship. Steffi Graf, we asked her yesterday, what's ahead for you? Are you tired of it? Do you want to retire soon? She said, no, I've got 2 reasons to continue. 1, I still do love this sport, love playing, and 2, I still don't think I've played my best tennis. I still believe I can be better.
Well, what's great about Steffi, I've seen more emotion on her face this match than I have in a long time. I think this title means a lot to her because, first of all, she's getting older. The titles are getting tougher and tougher. She has more losses. She's getting injured now, which has taken its toll. And, you know, she's been through a lot of adversity. You know, I think that the Monica Seles stabbing, I think that had a big impact on her because the reason behind it was this man wanted Steffi to become #1. And I still think deep inside she doesn't feel too good about that. So she's missed Monica, and she can't wait for her to come back. But she's had a lot of pressure. She's had to really hold the fort for women's tennis.
Yeah, that's right. We want to thank Debbie Edwards of the WTA for making these players more accessible. By the way, Bud Collins in the Arantxa Sanchez-Vicario camp. Any new strategies at love 5?
I was unable to go into the locker room with him. Georgina Clark, the referee, said, wait a minute, this isn't an American baseball locker room. I said, okay. But I talked to Heinz Guntart. He looked at me as though I were mad, and not a bad look. He said, she just won 5 straight games. What am I supposed to do? Tell her to slow down? And, of course, from Gabrielle Urpi, the cry is, and it will be for every coach in a situation like this, remember Chanda Rubin. She was down love 5, as you remember, and love 40 against Jana Novotná, and pulled it out. So that will always be a rallying cry for this deep. But Arantxa right now looks like the Democrats in the last election.
All right, Bud.
ramasseur.
I think in her own personal professional pride, Arantxa does not want to go out at love in the final set, so she serves to at least get a number on the board in her column. Split set 7-5 Graf, 6-4 Arantxa Sanchez-Vicario. Graf broke Arantxa in her first service game here in the final set, and then broke her again and has run off a 5-love lead.
Mademoiselle Graf mène 5-0 dernière manche. Au service, Mademoiselle Sanchez-Vicario.
And she just has to think that she's starting from scratch. You know, forget that's 5-love. Pretend it's just the start of a match.
That error is her 12th of this final set. She has only one winner. That was the controversial ace on the line. And meanwhile, her opponent has allowed only 3 unforced errors. So her 4 points the entire set, the ace, and 3 unforced by Graf.
And this whole tournament shows how great Steffi Graf is. She came into this tournament rusty, only 4 tournaments this year, not prepared. And if she ends up winning this tournament, how good is she when she's not even at her best?
S'il vous plaît, merci.
This would be 25-0 if she wins today, on her way to Wimbledon, where she's played some of her finest tennis.
15-30.
15-30.
Again, Steffi Graf, this is the positioning this whole match. Steffi about 4 feet in front of the baseline. Arantxa about 10 feet behind the baseline, playing that defensive game.
15-40.
1 point from her 4th French Open title and her 16th Grand Slam championship.
S'il vous plaît, s'il vous plaît. Merci bien. Out.
Call is out. Umpire Patrick Burrell calling the fault on Graf. Another match and championship point for Graf. French champion, Steffi Graf.
2 manches à 1, 7-5, 4-6, 6-0.
6-love in the final set. Her 16th Grand Slam title and perhaps the best set she's ever played in a Grand Slam final. Impeccable. We asked Steffi Graf if she had any sense of her place in history, as now with 16 Grand Slams she moves on. She's only 8 from the all-time record of Margaret Court, and she said, I really haven't had time to think about that, but she's only 25. How many more are within her talented grasp? The trophy presentation, a word from the winner. Steffi Graf is the 1995 champion of France.